Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go.
it is now 7 p.m. It's time to open up our Chelmsford Conservation Commission meeting. The first item on tonight's agenda is the traditional open session citizen concerns. And before I say that, I just want to remind people that this meeting is being recorded by our cameras and folks at Chelmsford Telemedia. But if anyone has any open session or citizen concerns, just let me know now, and we'll entertain those. Seeing none, we'll move right along this evening.
Good call.
The first item, under the regulatory areas, is the continuation of a notice of intent filed with respect to 10 Technology Drive, which is a construction of a new building and entities. I see the applicant is present. Sir, you can identify yourself for the commission again and just proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. For your record, my name is Steve Stupinski from Merrimack Engineering. I think at the last meeting of the commission, we talked about the site and location of the wetlands in the rear. And at that time, we reviewed the proposed construction of the industrial building, 48,000 square foot building, the driveway coming in off of Technology Drive, loading in the back, and compliance with the 25-foot no disturb, the 30-foot no pave or impervious area, and the 50-foot no build zone. So all the work is in the buffer outside of those areas. At the time, the planning board hadn't acted on this. They hadn't heard it, so we continued the meeting to allow that to occur. I think the only comments that we had during the review period, which came in after I did the work in the buffer zone. So I spoke with the fire captain, and we developed a plan that actually, with a little bit of modification to the retaining wall that was in the back, allows a fire truck to enter from Technology Drive, come into the back, service the back of the building, and they can actually turn into what is the drive-up door ramp and make a wide turn to come out. So that was one concern, and the second concern was there were no side hydrants. The building is sprinkled, and there's a Siamese connection, but they wanted 2 hydrants, one in the front and one in the back, and we added those to the plan. And those were the only changes affecting anything in the buffer zone that came up, other than the town engineer had some comments about the drainage. We addressed those and resubmitted the plans to her. I guess in summary...
Has she reviewed those resubmissions, do you know?
I don't know if she's completed her review. She looked at them and said that they look complete. We had a meeting, a conference call a week ago on Tuesday, and all of her comments, there were a few comments that we had questions on. We kind of worked that all out with her, and the revised plans that we submitted last week are responsive to those few comments.
So is there a letter on file from her saying that she's agreed with your changes? Do you know? You may not know.
No, and I don't think she's issued that.
Okay.
And what I would say is that her recommendation to the planning board was that I think there were half a dozen things. Some of them dealt with as-built plans during construction, monitoring the construction of the underground systems. When the storm drainage systems go in, we're going to have a soil evaluator look at them to confirm the water table and the soil types. If the soils are not like they were in the test pits, then they're going to be removed and replaced with coarse sand to create an A-soil horizon under the chambers. That's something we talked about with her and added to the plans. They were on the plan set. There's a note on the plan set that you have regarding that. We slightly altered the the outlet overflow configuration of the chambers. Instead of having one overflow, we have 3 now, so we added 2 additional overflows. So those were the type of changes, and they were all integrated into the plan set that you've got. The planning board continued their hearing until next week. There were issues, the issues that they raised to us were twofold. One was additional planting in the front where we didn't have any along the Technology Drive right-of-way, certainly way outside of the buffer zone there. And they wanted a rendering of what the building was gonna look like. They felt they would like to see that. And they had a question about the intensity of the site lighting, which we've addressed all of those things the next day. So they have that, and but there was nothing that the board brought out that impacted anything in the buffer zone to the wetlands.
Well, thank you, Steve, for the update.
Yep.
Let's
that's
see if we
the
have
update.
any questions from the commissioners. Dave, anything more?
Has the stormwater management group, have they reviewed your stormwater calculations, and is there a response from them as to that they're adequate, you know? Or is that for just Christina? Is she the one looking?
Just Christina.
So
yeah.
she's reviewed the stormwater calculations?
Yes, she has, yep.
Okay. Refresh my memory, I'm sorry. Flat roof, so you're gonna have roof runoff through a few downspouts from to each corner, or what?
There's actually, the roof slopes from the front to the back. And if you, just to refer you to the plan set, there's a detail of the roof collection system that is on sheet 5. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 downspouts that collect the water from the main roof in the back. And then on the smaller stub portion of the building on the left, there's actually 2 downspouts that collect, 3 downspouts that collect that. So the roof slopes from the front to the back. The little appendage that's on the left-hand side slopes from the intersection with the main building to the left. That all gets collected. It all goes into the underground chambers. The site drainage gets collected, and that goes into storm scepters, and then from the storm scepters into the infiltration. And actually, what we've done is we've separated the flow so that the first flush flow goes through the storm scepters, and the storm scepters will never get overcharged because we have a larger pipe set at the top elevation of the smaller pipe that goes into the storm scepter to take the additional flow. So we fully meet all the treatment standards and requirements.
Thanks, Steve. Good. Let's see, Chris, anything?
I'm good.
All right, good. Bill?
I'm good, Steve. I'm good, Chris.
All right, Mark?
How did we leave it off with the snow storage?
We have the snow storage areas shown on the site plan, and there was some discussion we had about the DEP requirements to not have snow storage in the 100-foot buffer. But because we have storm scepters, I believe it's permitted. So I could not find anything in any of the stormwater handbooks, either 3 of the books, that prohibit it, and as long as you have treatment. So
where in the site is it? So it's the same place. You point it out again, please.
right, so we've got a snow storage area
In the back there,
in the back. Yeah, I should use a larger plan.
where it says SSA.
Yep, the SSA.
Okay.
So we've got a snow storage area right here in the back corner. We've got a snow storage area over the sewer easement. And then there's a snow storage area up here on the right-hand side behind the Verizon easement.
I guess there's nothing to contradict it.
Well, Chris?
Wasn't the snow storage thing something that we talked about for the town? We didn't want that?
No, I think the reference is to the state law, which
Is that what it
says
was?
you
That's how it
can't
came up, yeah. We wanted to make sure we complied.
comply with the state law. We don't have a separate town regulation for snow storage. I'm unaware of the exemption that you're referring to. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, as long as it's treated, it's,
Mark, anything else?
I guess there's nothing to contradict it. I
I
guess
know.
we're gonna,
I know, we don't have anything really to contradict it with.
right. Okay, I'm good.
All right,
I'm
Earl, nothing?
I'm
John?
okay.
All right, good, okay. All right, so we're back here again. I mean, it sounds like you're still ongoing with the planning board, but are you ready for us to close the hearing here today on Concom? Or do you want us to,
I think we can close the hearing. I don't think there was anything in the planning board discussions, other than the lighting, the landscaping, and the rendering, that would really impact anything with our permit here.
all right?
Did you see the letter from Christina?
We have not seen a letter from Christina.
Right, so, but you'd make it
We could do a condition.
contingent upon
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That would
we
be
could do
fine.
I
that.
suspect it's downstairs
Yeah.
somewhere.
Could well be, yeah, but we could do that, do a condition on that. I'm trying to think, are there any extra orders or conditions, or are we just looking at the standard orders condition?
I don't think there's any extra.
So it sounds like, yeah. All right. So then let's have a motion then from someone for a standard order of conditions, but subject to an approval letter from our town engineer, Christina Papadopoulos, that the drainage calculations were satisfactory.
So move, Chris.
Moved by Dave,
Second?
seconded by Bill. Any discussion before we vote? No discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None unanimous. So, Steve, you're all set.
Okay, thank you.
I know you got one more session with planning board, but I want
Yes,
to thank Avery for deciding to locate in Chelmsford, and if you pass that on to him, I'd appreciate it.
yeah, I will.
I'll second that comment, Dave. That's well said. It's
Yeah.
a good company, and we're glad to have them right here in Chelmsford.
That's great. And I'm actually gonna call them right now. I'll let them know. And I think,
Good.
looking forward to it, so.
Good. So our agent finished up her last week, last Friday. So the paperwork will be downstairs in the office, but I
Okay.
suggest just kind of calling, probably talking to Colleen
Colleen,
in the
yeah,
office, yeah, and she's going to help us out a little bit.
Okay, good.
In the interim.
okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Lights are going. Vivian, is there a blank order of conditions form in that paperwork, perhaps in the file that Katie might have left us, and we can sign that form if there is right now?
Yeah, because we don't have any exceptions to it.
Exactly.
That is WPA Form 3?
It usually is like, it's got some signatures, right? It's like, it's going to look similar, it's going to have like a place for signatures.
Should say order of conditions on
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah. And it might be right, yeah.
Maintenance report, Department of Public Works.
Uh-huh.
July 20th here.
Guess the city town stepping up.
Here, I'll take a look. I'll take a look with you, too.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't have swore. The other thing I can say, but
This might be your last meeting.
Okay, great.
If you had a mask on, nobody would know.
Exactly. All right, Dave, we have a
why should you
form
do
we
it
can-
like this?
One of these one of these sometimes requires two.
Well, you're right, because we've got our local bylaw. Why don't we,
Second blank one.
second blank one, and we got it. Okay. Case, all right.
And why don't I write on this 10 Technology
I think
Drive,
that's a
too?
good idea.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Nobody knows who said it.
Don't be smart.
Nobody knows who said that either.
Thanks, Dave.
I saw the do not enter sign on Warren's property,
Yeah. On what property?
next door. Not Warren's, but the one next door.
Oh, for the polls,
Yeah, yeah. There's a sign up, says
Uh,
town prop,
the
private
driveway?
property, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, don't do what I did. Don't print your name out there, 'cause we don't have a lot of space there. Thanks, Dave.
This makes for good TV.
Exciting. I mean, the rating's got to be really going
Riveting.
strong. And like,
Riveting.
Thank you.
riveting, yeah, riveting.
Use your pen for a second.
All right, yeah, we get official pens here.
The show.
Well, we have a kind of a break in the action for a moment. Maybe we can talk briefly about the agent, excuse me, the agent's report, yeah. We can, do we have minutes? Have people had a chance to look at minutes, or do we need more time on the minutes? Vivian, you sent them out
Sent them electronically last night.
last night, all right. So we can wait till our next meeting. Why don't we wait till, there's nothing urgent on those, so.
They're pretty straightforward.
They were pretty straightforward, though.
Well, I sent you a note, John was here last time,
Okay.
and you said he was absent.
He's easy to miss.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, wow. Yeah, a correction there. And in fact,
You said-
in
I
fact, we have documentary evidence because we have that incredible picture taken by our crack photographer showing that we were all present.
Also on the video. I mean, you can go to
In
the
the,
video.
in the video too, of course, yeah, the video. So, unless that was an imposter, but I don't think so. So anyway, anybody have a chance to look at those minutes yet?
Yeah, look
They're
fine.
fine by me.
All right, Dave's looked them over. Chris, we have a motion then to approve the minutes of, what do we got, Vivian?
July and August?
20,
Yeah, it was August 3rd and July 20th.
So moved.
20th. All right, August 3rd, July 20th,
With the one
moved by Mark.
correction on the August 3rd to have John
August 3rd, John was present.
present.
Okay. All right, and we had a second, Mark in the motion, second by Carl. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. All right, so the minutes have been approved, all right? Let's just jump right down to discussion, because we have time here. Agent job posting. So everybody, as everyone knows, unfortunately, Katie's last day was Friday, and so she started a new job. But really, unbeknownst to us, the job was changed from, I believe, 37 or 38 hours full-time job to 19 hours a week, and posted as 19 hours a week. And so I got a note. I think initially we got a note to Dave and I from Paul indicating that had happened, wanted to know if we had concerns. I responded back to Paul, said I was concerned because I was concerned that we might not be able to find a qualified candidate to do the job for 19 hours a week, which really would be without benefits as well, too. So it'd be a limited pool of people. And he said he shared that concern, but he wanted to see what happened when they posted the thing. So I talked to Evan Belansky about it, and Evan seemed to share my concern as well, too, that it might be very difficult to find someone to come in and work.
I asked who proposed it then?
Thank you, Mark.
That I'm really unclear as to where it's coming from, to be honest. So it's 19 hours, and there's more concerns because the job description that was posted, honestly, didn't really do the job justice when I looked at it. And Dave took it a step further, and Dave went on the MACC website and looked at the standard conservation agent description and came up with a much better document, which I really think. And Dave, why don't you talk
think
to
the way the town's job description is presently written, it's for an administrative assistant job. It does, even though it talks about a bachelor's degree in environmental stuff. I don't, if the job doesn't require any work experience, which it didn't, and I think it should, I think we should require 2 years of job experience because we only have one person in the conservation department. It's not like it's an agent and an assistant. When Katie came here, she came from Framingham. Darren was the agent down there, and he had, I think, 2 people. So he was able to train people on the job. So when she came here, she kind of hit the ground running because she knew quite a bit about conservation work through her work experience. And I think that should be a requirement of the job. I also think that there's a lot more technical requirements to the job, which are not in the current job description that the town has written. And I have, and as Chris said, I lifted almost verbatim a number of points from MACC, albeit it's fairly old, it's 10 years old, but I think it's still to the point. I sent it around to all of you. I don't think this is too detailed. It's a lot more than what's in the towns. This probably would definitely make it a full-time job. And I think it's much more appropriate to the kind of support that we need in that position.
I agree, Dave. I thought you did a nice job with that. I think we have more we can do with land management than has been done in the past. I also think, what Katie did with her agent's recommendations when she would provide those were really, really helpful. I'm not sure we'd be seeing that necessarily in a 19 hours a week kind of a job participation. And also the availability for people coming in for permits and meeting and all that. That's really limited. And that would play into it as well. So
I don't know if you recall, we often, I want to be careful because I'm not going to criticize Katie because I think she did an excellent job. But we would occasionally ask her, have you been on the site? And she hadn't been. And I looked to her to do a site walk independent of us. So it may very well be that, for example, wetland flagging, she thinks the wetland flags are fine. I'll take her word for it, or their word for it, so we don't have to schedule. I know we do schedule site walks on big projects, and we always should. But there was no reference in the town's job description about enforcement.
Right.
And we've had a number of discussions over the last 3 years about issues where we've had a problem with a homeowner. And what do we do about it? Well, we look to the agent to do something about it, but it's got to be in their job description, or they're going to say, hey, that's not my job. I'm not supposed to.
and that can be very time consuming.
Yeah, if it gets messy, as we know it could be on on Linwood.
Yeah, and honestly, that takes a special skill set that where, you can get somebody out there and get voluntary compliance. Because it's, if the agent can resolve the violations and get the violator to conform to our regulations voluntarily, that's always the best course,
The other area that I think we could step up that we haven't done much, that I've seen, is outreach and education and communications and publications. I think there's a lot we could be doing there.
And I would
that
look
I'd
to
like
the
to see
agent
more.
to show initiative in those areas as opposed to waiting for us to ask or waiting, in fact, for Evan to ask, because she technically, the position reports to Evan. And it reports to us for the technical part of the state DEP regulations and the town regulations. So I think we ought to, I think Chris should sit down with I don't know whether it's Evan or it's Evan and Paul or it's Paul, and we should share with them how much more to the job there is than what we have seen in the town's job description.
Yeah.
Chris is
I mean,
vice
it's his-
chair. I'm willing
Yeah,
to join you on that.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's probably Paul's call whether it's a half-time job or a full-time job.
I mean, did Katie have all this extra time in her hands while she was here?
No.
I didn't think so.
I mean, how can you make it, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me how you
The
can make it
last
a
few
part-time job.
months, she was till 1 o'clock, wasn't she? In working from home and the rest of the time?
Well, I mean, I think she was given the opportunity, COVID, and her son made it a little more difficult to be in here every day for 8 hours, and I think both Paul and Evan allowed her to do work where she could from home.
Has anybody applied for the job up to this point? Since it's been
I
posted?
have heard nothing. And I also thought it was interesting, I went out on the MACC website, And they had several positions out there with like this 19-hour, an hour kind of a, as Dave said, administrative type position. And they look like they've been sitting out there for a while, a number of months.
In other towns.
In other towns.
So it hasn't gotten much attention from applicants.
That's my,
I don't know how
Who
the
would-
town,
who would
I don't know
wanna
how
do
the
that?
town looks for people. I don't know whether there's a, whether there's a website for a municipal employee. I don't know what the recruiting
Yeah.
system is.
I mean, if you have someone who's maybe retired, that's looking for a job, that's got a background in conservation, it's a niche, and if you don't need benefits and you're looking for more of a part-time type thing, but that's a limited audience of
Yeah.
people that might be willing to do it. I mean, you still need someone that's going to be able to handle the paperwork part of it, but still be able to, get the boots on and go out and do the site inspections as well, too.
Yep.
Which we know from our last site inspection, some of that terrain is a little rough out there. So you got to be able to, to do that part of the
Some
job.
of us know that.
Not for Kyle.
Well, Carl actually was the only one that did the full route last time, but
The full money.
State Park, there we go.
anyway, so I think that's a good idea. So I think that we'll follow up then with the town manager's office and with the
I mean,
community director's office.
Pat Flaherty's already semi-retired, right? Why don't we get him to do it?
Pat Flaherty would be a superb candidate, I mean, it'd be great to have
Skills are just magnificent.
he'd have, not only his agent report would also have like a beautiful diagram, I'm sure, of the buffer zones and in multiple colors. Absolutely. So if there's somebody, like that we know of, that's, kind of semi-retired and has got this conservation background, great, but, all right, so we're going to follow up on that. And I'm also curious, I don't think, we'll have to see if anybody's applied. But I mean, it's got to be a qualified person, as Dave was saying before, someone we can rely on. And it's important when we get those agent reports, were really great. I mean, it summed it up, what was going on, had a recommendation. And again, we had a person that could go in between DEP and the consulting engineers and make our jobs a lot easier, so. All right. Well, back to the agenda. We're looking under the regulatory hearings. We have our amended notice of intent continuation with respect to 45 Richardson Road. That was constructing a two-story addition, and the original plans had a retaining wall and patio, and we have received an amended revision, which has been distributed out to the commissioners, and I see our consulting engineer, Hushi, is present tonight. So Hushi, if you can take us through what's going on out there with that project.
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Sushman Dafshar from Taj Engineering LLC, a very wonderful local engineering firm, small.
I think you need to speak into the microphone. For
Yeah,
the
yeah,
TV.
don't-
we got to get for the TV, yes.
Okay, have you heard me so far?
That's good. You were saying something about Taj Engineering.
I was introducing myself and putting out a little commercial for myself.
Local engineering firm, yes.
Yeah. So, well, the fact of the matter is, the family is running out of shelter. They need room, they need a space, and they want the addition to be done. And the zoning bylaws approved the construction of the addition. We received the DEP comments finally. They took their time, as you remember. Last time when I was here, we didn't have even a DPE file number. We received their file number, we received their comments. So the applicant has agreed to remove the wall completely and restore the ground as we submitted on the plan and also in the project description that we already submitted last week, to remove the wall completely and restore the grounds to its original conditions and grades. In addition to that, to remove the garage, existing garage, to remove the sheds. So anything highlighted in orange will be removed. And as per the calculation, as you can see, there will be a credit of over 1,400 square foot to our credit for the storage volume. So the only thing that will be added, what is allowed by the local bylaws, and actually MGL allows that too, is the addition on sonotube. So with that, the applicant is requesting the blessings of the commission.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you very much for the update. Let's see if the commissioners have questions for you. Dave, why don't we start from you again, if you're ready?
When you restore the grade on the Richardson Road side of the stone wall, you're gonna slope it up? You're gonna slope it up to the road? Is that your intention when you take out the stone wall? You'll take that fill out and just slope it up to Richardson Road?
It will be, we have the existing condition plan, the way the grades were.
Because right now, it's just, when the owner built the stone wall, they filled in.
Everything.
So you can take the stone wall and that fill out.
Exactly, and then restore, and then I will give you even a certified as-built after the removal. You compare the as-built with the pre-construction, and you'll be the judge. Yes.
We'll give Dave another moment.
The letter that you received, that we all received from DEP on June 28th, it said the applicant must have a wetland scientist delineate the edge of the BVW, which should be survey located and shown on the revised site plan. Has that in fact been done by a wetland scientist?
Yes, sir, it has. It been.
Okay.
I
You're the-
certify to
are
that
you
on my
a
plan.
wetland scientist? Okay.
Yes, and we give the name of the,
Okay.
our wetland consultant
No,
and
no.
everything.
And then it says the retaining wall under this is under construction, is in restriction. This should be eliminated, which you've done,
Yes.
from the projection, and it doesn't meet any filling of the floodplain should be clearly shown in the revised plan. I don't think you're filling in any floodplain now, is that
No, we are
correct?
removing, we are,
In addition, any fill, okay, so you don't need a cut and fill because you're not
Correct.
filling. Okay, so that takes care of the questions I think that DEP had. Let me go around and then come back. to
Okay, I'll
you.
come back to you, Dave. Okay, Chris,
I don't have any questions, Chris.
all right? Yeah, Bill?
When you do the piers, what's your plan? Do you know where the water table is in relation to when you dig the piers, you're gonna have to de-water, or?
Sure.
How are you gonna treat that, so that none of that water, we understand on this, adjacent to, we don't know on this site, but adjacent to the site, there's PFAS in the ground, in the water, the groundwater. How do you plan on digging for the piers and treating the water that you're gonna?
the piers are going not more than 4 feet at the most into the ground.
And do
If
we know
we
where the
hit,
water table is?
water table is below that.
You've done what, test holes?
I have done record and I have done from the past experience. Of course, it's old, few years ago. But if water comes in,
Yeah.
this is going to be a quick operation. It's not going to be, as you know, sonotube, you dig the hole, you drop the tube, you fill it in. So,
So
if
you're just gonna dig the hole,
Yeah.
put the sonotube in, put the cement
Cement
in,
in.
whatever water comes out of the hole is
yes,
gonna come out. The
Yeah.
cement will replace the water.
which is not going, because these are only 12-inch diameter
Right,
sonotubes.
Right, so you're not gonna be pumping the water
No,
towards the wetland or?
no, it's not worth it, it's not necessary, it's just, I mean, the grade goes towards the wetland anyway, so.
Right, I just wanna make sure that we don't create an issue. We know there are test pits on the water department land, there's test pits at the dog
Park.
park across the street, and there's test pits at the DPW, the old DPW site.
Right.
So we just don't want to, we want to make sure that we're not impacting, I know it's probably 9 or a dozen piers, right?
Yeah,
That anything we do isn't creating liability for this person, for this owner, if they come across something like that, or by dewatering, put any water onto another person's site that would cause them issues. So, have you seen any letters or anything from the water department or the engineers for the water department?
There
That
are
maybe
no-
you would file?
the water department does not have any engineers. The water department has,
Billy, we have one letter, which was sent to Katie Girton, which was copy to a Bob Levitt, a Barry Backrack, I take it they're North Chelmsford, I don't know. A Jonathan O'Brien, are they North Chelmsford Water Commissioners? I don't know who they are. But this was sent by Bruce Harper, and we got a copy of it. It says, "Hi Katie, I wanted to follow up on the conversation hearings regarding the application to construct a two-story addition at 45 Richardson Road. As you're aware, the property abuts the well field of the North Chelmsford Water District. The town of Chelmsford, through Weston and Sampson, has installed a shallow and deep PFAS monitoring well between this property and the North Chelmsford Water Department production wells, along with numerous wells installed at 52 and 54 Richardson Road that have detected high levels of PFAS above the 20 parts per whatever the unit of measure is. The town of Chelmsford is following the immediate response action assessment only and is being monitored by Mass DEP Bureau of Waste Site Cleanup. I would ask, this is Bruce Harper, I would ask that the Conservation Commission Board deny this application until the town of Chelmsford has determined the exact location of the PFAS source and a long-term plan to mitigate the PFAS." Now, your comment, Billy, I think is appropriate. It's one thing if, I think, a couple things. First of all, the applicant has not done any PFAS testing on their site, to the best of my knowledge. Nor has.
Why should we?
Well, don't get too defensive yet. You haven't done it. I don't know that you have been asked to do it. You certainly haven't been asked by us to do it. So the Conservation Commission has no reason to believe that there's PFAS on the site. However, once the dirt is disturbed, it's possible that PFAS is in the dirt, which I think gets to your point, Billy. If there's going to be any dewatering, there may be PFAS in the water. We don't know. So frankly, I don't know what we do about it. Mark said this a couple of times before, and he's right. We have no reason to believe, based on the evidence that we have, that PFAS is on the site, nor do we have any reason to ask the applicant at this point to do a PFAS testing. If the town, through whatever the project is, and apparently it's a big project, if the town has evidence that there is either PFAS originating on the site or migrating to the site from other sites, it should be shared with us. And as far as I know, it hasn't been shared with us. So, I'm sorry, Billy. I didn't mean to-
I think, I don't have a problem with putting addition. I think maybe we can condition it to a couple things. My concern was any dewatering or anything with the piers. Maybe we can condition the approval, if we do approve it, of how we want that done. Whether we don't want to have them come in with a backhoe, dig a trench and put piers in. They can dig them separately and do it so we're not creating too much of a water. Because that water table is pretty close to the top of the ground down there. If you look, you can look at it and see it's not 4 feet down. So, now we haven't done any test holes, so that's not set in stone, but I don't want to create a problem for these people as far as liability if they find PFAS. I want them to be able to build their addition, but protect the water department, the water, because the town and the water department spending tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars on this PFAS issue. I don't want to do something here. I don't want these people not to be able to build their addition, but I also don't want to create a problem. So if we can condition how the holes are done, how the piers are put in, that satisfies everyone, that's, I think, the way to go.
And frankly, Bill, if there is evidence that there's a problem, it should have been brought before us.
Right.
Nobody's brought any evidence before us that.
It's all hearsay as far as we're concerned.
You could argue, well, if there's PFAS on every site around it, chances are there's PFAS on this site, but that's not evidence.
Right. Right. So we can't crucify these people
No.
for something we don't know it's there. We can presume it possibly is because it's surrounded by it. But if we condition this on how the dewatering is done, how the piers are installed,
Have you got some ideas in that?
well,
Billy?
rather than dig the whole thing out and make a mess of the place and have to pump the water out, I think if you dig each hole separate, put this sonotube in.
How many sonotubes we talking about? 9?
We reduced it to 9, yes, 9.
9.
So you dig each hole, you set the sonotube in, you pour the concrete in,
That's
the
it.
concrete's gonna displace the water, it's just gonna drop right back on the outside of the sonotube, and it's done. My whole point is, I don't wanna see you digging a big area out and pump the water towards the wetlands. So I
Sure.
think if we condition it, I don't have an issue.
Put it as a condition, and also I'll give you half a dozen of water sample from every dig, from every hole I dig. If I come across water, even if it is mixed with silt or whatever, I'll make sure my engineer bottles it and gives it to any department you want. I have lived in Chelmsford
You like
for the
that?
past 32 years.
I like that. I like that.
Okay.
That's
All
a-
right,
that's a
no, I will
benefit to the
do.
community to get that.
I will do. Mr. Chairman, I have lived in Chelmsford.
Yeah.
Okay, and as a citizen, public citizen and taxpayer, I know nothing about this. And how come my government is not telling me that water is this? I mean, if we don't want to open the can of worm here, but I mean, I have in Chelmsford, I have raised my kids, I have business here. My son is a doctor, he has business here, and none of us know about this.
Yeah.
I mean,
The town's spending a lot of money.
pardon me?
The town's spending a lot of money on this issue.
Well, it's
with
good to
the
know where,
DPW, which
where
is
your
across the
taxpayer
street.
tax goes, and it's good to know for health reasons. We don't
So,
want
do you-
Flint happens
Is your
again.
client, or do you have a problem with us conditioning how those piers are put in?
No,
So that
absolutely
we don't
not.
create a bigger issue?
Absolutely
I think that's a
not.
great idea.
Yeah, and I'll give you samples for your use. Give it to our department, give
The
it
water
to
department, wouldn't they? Not Chelmsford Water
Well,
District.
what, for the water testing?
If you got samples.
I think it should go to Board of Health. Well, we have to fund,
Exactly.
there's an organization in town, it probably is represented by Board of Health and the water departments that are doing this PFAS project. I would start with the Board of Health because they're in a position to test the water, I would think.
I guess to play devil's advocate, what happens if he provides the samples and then they found this PFAS in the water?
Then they'd have to stop work.
Right.
But that might be a good thing, to be honest.
Is there a foundation under this house,
I don't know, sir.
existing structure?
I'm not so. I know there is no basement.
Is there a crawl space?
No. Nothing. It's on a slab.
It's on a slab.
Because that would give, oh, it's on a slab.
Pardon me?
It's on a slab?
Yeah. I don't think there's there's nothing of that sort. No.
I think, like Billy says, doing all
Condition.
handwork there, no
Yeah.
machines,
Handwork, we don't want any pumping.
right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it can be done. It's like digging.
We're just taking a little more care than we may normally do.
Absolutely. No, I'm totally with you.
We just don't want a bulldozer going in and, really disturbing the area.
They drill in.
Last time I heard Marty wouldn't approve them, but Marty's not here anymore.
They are using them.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told.
What was that,
What's that, John?
There's a new post that, I don't know if it's gonna support a two-story addition or whatever, but it's a techno post. They drill it in.
Oh, the spiral axial. Yeah, it has got
It's
blades.
drill in
spiral
place kind of thing?
drives
Yeah.
it, like an auger.
Like an auger,
Mm.
and they drill the post in.
You can buy them at the lumber yard.
Well, no, the big foot you buy at the lumber
No,
yard.
but you can buy those techno things
The
that
techno?
come from lumber.
Yeah, driving them in,
You
machine,
need a machine to do
Well,
them.
very mechanical.
the guy shows up with a truck,
Right.
they have a laser, they lay it out,
Yeah.
and they drill each pair.
Sounds
It's a lot
nice.
of
It's an
money.
option, yeah.
But there's no excavation, there's no backhoe. There's a truck, one guy does it all.
You know what?
I think somebody should check on that.
Yeah, if you put it in condition, if
Well,
if the economy allows and if the applicant within her budget, now she's a single mom by the way, her budget allows and everything, I will support. I'm all for it as an engineer. And I'll supervise myself, make sure this is done right. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for protection of resource areas, you know? And I want to make a couple of suggestions to the commission. You should always ask for the resource areas to be flagged. Always. Previously, they allow us to go by the record. I mean, in this case, we gain because by flagging, the boundary moved back. But in many cases, it has been other way around.
Yeah, we understand that.
We do, we know.
So I'm glad DEP asked for it because my conscience also is clear now.
Well, I'm glad.
That flag the wetland, don't go by the record.
Yeah, it's a very unusual situation for us to just go by
Yeah.
what might be in the record.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause
So,
our
but
typical
anyway.
process is, it's flagged, and then we either have the agent go out and double check the flags, and then if necessary, as we did on the project was just before you, we had all 7 members of the commission went out and walked
Yeah,
the
no,
site
sure.
and checked the
No.
flags, and there's been times when we've had to move the flags here and there, but I agree, that's the
Mr.
best
Chairman, I'm
practice.
sorry, I don't mean to nosy or.
No, but we agree. We agree. Let's see, Mark, anything? Bill, you're good, right?
Yeah, either one of those options, if it's cost prohibitive for what Johnny recommends, it is the best way because it's the least amount of disruption.
I know it costs more money, but there's less equipment. It's,
Sure, more, the overage, the extra cost might be well worth it.
by the time you put a laborer, a backhoe, and start digging and dewatering, and this guy comes in with the truck, he drills it, and that's if the building department will accept the techno post,
Yeah.
which I think they're doing it everywhere.
No, I certify to it, as a structural engineer, I certify to it, I check into it, if it is acceptable, the soil bearing capacity of the soil and all that, I
Yeah.
mean, this is not a Empire State Building, so. yeah.
So if either the Technopost or at,
Well, we
Or-
gotta be
or
careful,
it-
we can't recommend.
no.
We can't design it.
We can't design it.
We can
What we
condition it.
can say is the hole should be dug individually,
We
Less
can.
intrusive.
and that would include that, John.
Yes.
That
less
would
intrusive.
include less intrusive.
And they can pick an option.
Yeah, we can't design this, but
Yeah.
That two-car garage in the orange, is that what DEP, that was your recommendation, take that down, or was that DEP's?
It was my recommendation, you know why? Because it's a lot of work to fix it.
Okay. Well, why are they saving the slab?
To park on it,
It's not proposed to be a garage again someday?
Maybe.
not that I know of.
Yeah.
She
A
doesn't
little
have
concerned
money.
about that.
We'll hear him again.
Said, she doesn't have money.
No, I know, but she's not always gonna live there either.
But if it's,
She's not going to live neither, so I don't know, I think.
right?
You can still build on grade.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Is that a big deal?
Well, it's in the buffer, it's in a 25-foot buffer. But
it's
she has to
there.
come before us again.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
yeah, okay. No, I think I'm all set.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Carl.
I'm good. I think we beat it.
All right, John.
I'm good if,
Good. Keith? You're good? You got the
Do we
point.
know if Christina has given an engineer's report on this?
I don't think so. No.
Is she going to? Do we know if she will?
I don't think so. I mean,
Has
it's a
this been
fairly,
shown to the?
We
to
gave her a
Ms.
chance,
You haven't heard from Christina
Mr.
Papadopoulos?
Papadopoulos. The same question came up last night, and I talked to her all the time on other jobs, and she has had this opportunity. I mean, Katie definitely is in contact with other departments, and she hasn't said anything. I mean, it's really-
Stormwater has to review all these plans.
Pardon me?
Stormwater management, or stormwater, whatever it's called, has to review all
Yeah,
these
and
plans.
they gotta sign off.
Before the permit's issued.
Sure, of course. We are
No,
not
but we-
changing any topography,
Right.
so.
I don't want to hold you up, I want you to be aware of that, that's all.
Yeah, of course.
These people are waiting long enough if it does go through, you know, like to see it happen.
Yes.
Cleaning the site up so the project long worth waiting for.
honestly, it's going to be a major site improvement, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to look nice.
It's gonna look
because-
a lot better, and as long as we have, and in fact, we'll have a positive impact on the flooding situation by the improvement, and, and as long as we're careful and make sure we don't aggravate this potential DFAS issue and try to mitigate the risk, we'll be good.
Chris, I don't know,
Dave?
I suspect these changes have to be shown again to DEP. Has anyone responded?
Oh,
to
we have
DEP?
sent this to DP already.
You have, okay.
Yeah, both the narrative and
So
this.
are you
is-
waiting to hear back from them
I'm
again, or are you, or not? You don't know yet?
I'm not waiting.
Because sometimes they don't answer.
Yeah, well, if you, sometimes when they don't have any comments, they don't answer
Right.
because they are so busy.
Right.
But we actually sent her another email today, and because we did a little revision to the narrative that the existing house is not on the septic. We are not having any impact on the groundwater really by the means of, say, septic. It's connected to the town system. So I asked him to add that to the, and send it to her again, and we send it again with the plan. So
Or it's gotta be sewered.
Sewered out there, yeah. Any other questions for the commissioners? So, I mean, I think we could take action tonight. you know.
Chris,
Dave?
I move that we issue a standard order of conditions for 45 Richardson Road with the following special conditions.
Yep.
That when the holes are dug for the pillars or the posts, that water samples be taken from each of the holes and delivered to the Chelmsford Department of Public Health for testing for PFAS, or for testing, period. And the second condition is that the holes for the pillars be dug individually or using a system like Technopost. By saying like Technopost, we're not telling them what to do. Okay,
Yeah, we can't,
right, yeah,
Yeah.
we know, you're right, John.
Yep.
Is that what we?
they have to check with the building department, like you said, Mark, to make sure that
So the first one,
allowing it now, not Marty.
did you write those down, Vivian, because we'll need that
Let's repeat
one.
those again, though.
We'll need,
I like the word less intrusive,
Yeah.
more
Minimize
generic.
disruption.
Yeah, minimize disruption,
Anyone-
yeah. Minimize destruction, disruption, and no pumping as well. No pumping of the water on the site as well as a condition. And also, I think I heard you said you were going to provide us the as-built plan afterwards to show us that the
Sure.
wall had been removed and the grading had been restored to the previous
Yes.
floodplain
Yes.
conditions. So
No problem.
we'll add that into. All right, so we have Dave's motion with the enumerated special conditions. Vivian, any problems capturing those in the minutes?
Holes are dug, you want water samples taken and delivered to the health department for PFAS testing.
Yeah,
Holes are to be dug individually
Yeah.
or via a system like Technopost.
yeah,
No pumping of water.
Yeah.
As-built plans required.
yep. Good.
Just put a note in there of hand dug holes, not machine, not backhoe dug holes, hand dug.
And dug holes.
Should, well, we don't have an agent, but I was gonna say it should, to be notified when they were gonna do that. But there's nobody,
no, you can. You
I
live
will
in-
notify
You live
you.
in North Chelmsford, right, Billy?
yes, I
I
do.
will send pictures also,
Pictures also, excellent.
Nice.
progress, yeah.
That's good.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, I would say notify the conservation office when you've done that. That would be good.
Of course.
We'll have somebody covering at some
Is
point.
there a generic email?
Pardon me?
Is there a generic email there?
It's probably bouncing back or not working right now.
If it's
That's a
going
good
to Katie,
question.
yeah, if it's going to Katie, it's,
Right now, it's, yeah, it's not. So we'll, but we're gonna work on that.
We're doing a wonderful job.
We're working on
It only
that.
can
took,
send
what,
it
5
to
years to get the
Colleen.
phone system to work?
Colleen, yeah.
I can send it to Colleen and request,
Colleen knows what to do.
yeah.
She's gonna help us as much as she can.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Talk to her again today, this evening.
If you can notify to Colleen when it's gonna be, when
Yeah.
you're gonna do the pairs.
Of course.
And send the
Exactly.
pictures.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
All right, so Dave made the motion. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Bill. Any further discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. All right, Hushi, very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
We will get a signed order of conditions prepared in the office. Just give Colleen a call, maybe in the next day or two. and you'll be able to get that document from her.
I have to wait 20 days anyway, right?
Yeah, you got the appeal period to wait out as well, so.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ushi.
Don't forget to go home.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Yeah, he might get an appeal from
Very well, Mike.
the North Water
I
Department.
wouldn't be necessarily surprised. All right, so that was the 45 Richardson Road. Next on to, before we move on, do we have an order of conditions form that we can sign now in preparation?
So at least
Might as
we
well.
know it's there.
At least we've signed it and we can get that down tonight to the office.
Think. It was me.
That might be me.
Didn't sound like me. No.
Lots of stuff for RDAs.
Let me take a look. Yeah, we've been covered for RDAs, but I think our compensation should increase if we're doing
I
executive
have
duties
one
now.
more order of conditions, that's it.
All right, good. So Dave, let's write do the same thing, write the address 45 Richardson Road on this. Pass this one down the line.
I like him a little bit better.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. All right, here you go. All right, and next on tonight's agenda is a request for certificate of compliance. This is a new filing related to 17 Zeus Drive, DEP file 129-0904. I don't see an agent's report in the file. Do we?
But
do we have-
attached to it, there's a form that says the site inspection was made in the presence of the applicant on 8/12/21.
Excellent,
And it
excellent.
says, it is hereby certified the work regulated by the order of conditions has been satisfactorily completed,
Excellent, Dave, good.
but it's not signed by Katie. All
right. All right, and
I think our signatures are the signatures that are
Yeah,
required.
and I did talk to Katie, I think Thursday or Friday last week, and she told me that everything was excellent out at 17 Zeus Drive. She had no issues or problems with it.
And this
so-
was an addition on John's
Yeah.
house or building.
Yeah. So I think, yes, Dave?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Is it okay, Chris? There's no Taj Mahal out there?
What's that? I didn't say anything.
Dave, I think you were about to make a motion?
I move that we issue an order of conditions for 17 Zeus Drive. I'm sorry.
certificate-
I'm sorry. I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for 17 Zeus Drive.
Thank you, Dave, and we have a second on that?
Second.
Seconded by Chris. On the second, any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None unanimous. So that's approved, and we'll sign that paperwork now as well.
This is going around for the signature. There's also another piece to this that stays with the file, so don't separate them if you would.
Gibbs.
Thanks, Dave. All right. All right, so it's coming along here. We'll keep it all nice and together.
Sign two places.
Only one signature place, right, Dave?
Yeah.
One place. Yeah, this must be really exciting when they see us actually signing the documents, on television.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you don't see,
We should each have
On
pens.
camera.
Right.
you don't see the planning board ever executing legal documents right on TV like this. I mean, no.
They probably have 10 times as many as we do.
Slow motion camera going.
They also got sued a lot more than we do. Jeez.
Who knows, John heard that. What's next?
All right, next up, we got to move it here. All right, continual business, land management update. So, Carl, land management update.
Yeah, the proposal for the parking lot layout came from Scott Ludwig. We had two different options. Without going into detail on the difference between the two, Dave and I had a agreement on one we like better. We went out to the site last week and we did a kind of a mock-up layout of that layout, and
Is it Russell Mill?
this is at Warren Pole, sorry.
Oh, Warren
Pole.
This is at Warren Pole, I'm sorry. And so we have some questions for Scott Ludwig, who is the surveyor. We've got some questions into him. We're waiting to hear back from him. I think perhaps when we get some answers, then we'll share that with the commission, what the layout looks like, and get the details. I didn't hear anything new about the NOI. Have you, Dave?
No, I sent a note to DPW today reminding them that Katie has left, because she was gonna do the NOI for the DPW. And I reminded them that she wasn't there, that we still needed to get the NOI prepared. The next step now is, the wetlands have been flagged, we've got a map with flagged wetlands. There's a rough sketch of where there's gonna be 15 parking spots. And what they need to do, the DPW needs to do now is to make that a more of a formal plan that would get attached to the notice of intent. The notice of intent comes in, it gets scheduled for our public hearing, where we solicit public comments on the parking lot. It also has to be as you recall, it has to be published in the local newspaper. So, and then there's a review period. So it takes about 30 to 40 days from the time we get the NOI to the time because DEP has to review it. And they may have some questions, because as you recall, although it's a farm road, which is an exception, the farm road's pretty close to the wetlands, so. I just sent a note to Gary and to Deanne and to Town Manager Cohen and to Evan Belansky, just reminding them that the next step is the notice of intent, because that's gonna fall through the cracks unless we keep some pressure on it.
I know Katie would have stayed on top of it for us, but thank you, Dave. The only other thing on there is that the conservation restriction, we have not heard back from the Land Trust.
We sent it to them 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, with our final comments. We haven't heard back.
Right.
On Russell Mill, the parking area, the parking issue there, we sent just kind of a proposal of some changes to the Youth Soccer Association and to the NEMBA group about a week ago, and we haven't heard any response yet, but it's pretty basic. I think we talked about it in one of our other meetings.
Yeah, we need their buy-in to it, because we're also gonna solicit their help to get it done.
Yep.
That's all I got.
All right, thanks, Carl.
One other thing on Russell Mill, you recall we got an acre of land when the town sold off the parcel that Billy Harvey bought the house. Town kept half of it, which is about an acre, gave it to conservation, so it's part of Russell Mill. Conservation Commission last January, or a year ago last January? Probably last January.
2020 January.
So a year ago last January, approved a plan submitted by the Chelmsford Open Space Stewards to make what they refer to as a woodland garden in that area. That is, to use the overstory and plant woodland stuff. They've done some work out there, they put in some trails, they cleared the lot, and now they got at least 50 kids from the Chelmsford Chinese Church.
Nice.
Is that the group?
Oh,
The ones that are out on Littleton Road across from,
on Hunt Road there?
yeah, the corner of Hunt Road and
Yeah.
Littleton.
That would be it.
They're sending like 30 to 50 volunteer kids
great.
out, under direction, of course, to do the next phase, which is I assume it's to put in more plants and do all of that. So that's taking time, because they gotta line up. They're gonna line up volunteers. But that'll be nice when it's done.
I got one other thing. I got an email, or actually an email and then a phone call. Mr. Paul Sneringer had a Eagle Scout project he was getting involved with. He actually works, his day job's with the Army Corps, and he kind of contacted me as a follow-up. I guess he had talked to Katie at some point and found out she'd left. but he was asking questions around kind of permitting, and it was some sort of a bridge out at Sunny Meadows, but it was going to be a bridge that, a very substantial bridge that would be able to handle like trucks and stuff coming across. So it wasn't your typical pedestrian-type bridge.
Kid was
And-
gonna build a,
Trucks for what?
Army Corps of Engineers, you said, right?
He works for the Army Corps of Engineers, so he's,
to get onto the farm site.
yeah, he was asking me about it, and I said, well, look, there's some agricultural exemptions out there, but I mean, you're welcome to come in and talk to the commission on Tuesday nights, we can get you on the agenda. But I did point him, it's town land, so I pointed him towards the town engineer's office, saying, this sounds like an engineering type issue. You've got some permitting options with us. The easiest one is the determination. You come in and ask for a determination of whether you need an NOI or not. But I said, I suggested he talk to the town engineer's office, because it's town land, it's actually not Concom land.
He's probably doing it under the direction of costs.
He would be working with
Cost is
costs.
responsible
Yeah.
for Sunny Meadows, right?
Yeah, he'd be working with costs and the Seagull Scout. So anyway, we'll see if we hear from him again. He might
That
come in.
sounds like an ambitious project for an Eagle Scout.
I mean,
Oh,
I've seen like,
Ambitious eagle.
that's one heck of an Eagle Scout project. Anyway, so Carl, I'll keep you looped in if I hear from him again too.
I had a couple things, Chris.
Yes, Bill?
Do we know, update on Crooked Spring on the bridge, the riprap at the ends?
I haven't heard anything. I haven't, last time I went there, which is a couple of weeks ago, it was not done.
No.
So
I drove by today, it wasn't done.
Yeah, I just don't want to have it fall between the cracks and not get done, because it is slippery there, it needs to be done, so. And the other thing was Freeman Lake. Do we know why Freeman Lake is so nasty looking? Has anybody gone by and taken a look?
I haven't looked closely at it.
Shut down now, I
I've
think,
heard
right?
from half a dozen people in North Chelmsford. It's algae, and I assume it's the hot weather from June, and it's also fertilizer from all the abutters going into the lake.
I mean, you get the rainwater,
But
so
I
wash
also
it
heard,
in.
Butchie Lucier said he had like 25 signatures from neighbors, and they were going into Town Manager Cohen's office to see what could be done about it.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I don't know if that
I don't know
meeting's
if
been
there's
held.
anything that can be done or needs to be done. or-
Well, I'm sure remember, that was a similar type problem, although algae is different from, as they had at Hart Point.
Right.
And the homeowners association addressed that, and the town has subsidized the work that's necessary each year
For Hart
out
Pond.
at Hart Point. So
So maybe we can keep that on the agenda and follow up on that, see what.
my recommendation was to Butchie was try to resurrect the Freeman Lake Homeowners Association. Easier said than done, but
Right.
I'm sure they leveraged, copied whatever Hart Pond's doing, because they're
well,
pretty effective.
of course, Butchie's not the kind to get really involved in stuff. But I said, call Pam Rivard. She's she's president of the Hart Association. She seems to know what she's doing.
They've been effective.
Yeah, there's a lot of algae and a lot of lily
Is the beach
pads.
open, or did they close the beach?
They closed
Beach
the
is
beach.
closed
Really?
until further notice.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
I guess you can't see any water. Is that true?
Well, yeah, it's looking bad.
Wow.
That's too bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, that's all.
You know what we need to do, Billy? I don't know if you noticed that two Northeastern graduate students got a grant from somewhere, and they constructed a floating island in the Charles River
I
to help
was
clean it up.
reading about that. Yeah.
That they built this island out of wire mesh and a base, and it actually floats in the river, and they're putting plants on the island that clean up the water,
Really?
and they're gonna tow the island around the Charles. What are you looking at me for?
I'm just looking at you.
They're gonna tow the island around. It's between the Museum of Science and the Cottage Farm Bridge, I think. And they're gonna store it on the banks of the Charles River in the wintertime. Sounds like if it works, we ought to have it done at Hart Pond and at
Freeman Lake.
Freeman Lake.
Yeah. All right, I'd just like to keep it on the agenda so
All
we
right,
can follow
let's
up.
track
on
that one.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Anything else? Anybody has on land management issues?
I'm glad to see more people bringing up land management issues, because in the past, it's good to bring them up at this meeting and at least get them out.
And that's stuff that the new agent should follow up on to keep the ball rolling. 'Cause we're here
With their 19
twice a
hour.
month for a couple hours.
Yeah, yeah.
With
Thank you.
That person's here
And our minimum wage didn't go up the way everyone else's did.
Oh, that's another comment too. The hourly rate seemed to have taken a shave,
It
Dave.
was 20 grand a year. It was
Yeah, they
19
shaved
bu-
it,
Was
yeah.
it 19 bucks an hour?
It was a shave down from where we were
The hourly
before.
rate for this
Does that include
conservation.
coming to the meetings and all that?
It does.
I mean,
it does.
Katie's annual salary, I think, was 55 a year,
Something like that.
something like
I
that.
think this is gonna drop down to about 20.
Yeah, good luck. No, it'll fall on us, Mark.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
Already
That's
has,
what we're scared about.
exactly,
We're scared.
exactly. Let's see what else. So we have no agents report tonight because we have no agent at the moment.
Well, that is the agent.
Yeah.
There is no agent.
There is no agent. All right, so I guess we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Chris. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous.